Hello, welcome to Chatting Shit about the Nemesis Cup. Episode 2, still very fresh. This is Wednesday night now, and so we're 4 days into it. Very excited to talk about some anti-flyers. Well, 3 of us are very excited to talk about some anti-flyers. One of us is quite disappointed that they can't talk about Quagsire.
That's my joke gone. I was gonna pick Quagsire and everything.
Sorry, Phil.
It's all right.
You can still do it. Like, you can still do it, right? Like, I mean, that's fine.
Quagsire.
There you go. Yeah, see, like everyone's better off for that. No one's lost out there.
This is the quality content that people, subscribe to your channel for.
This is it. This is why they hit the. This is why the notification button exists, right? People need to see that as soon as it comes out. Yeah, joined by Jan, joined by Jay, and a very quiet this evening, PhiliJimBob. I'm sure he'll have learned his lesson after last time. How are we all?
Very well. Yourself?
Good. Yeah, good man.
Good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks. Yeah. Any thoughts on this now? 3 or 4 days in. Jay, you called it pretty much spot on last month, mate. Any crystal ball gazing that you've been doing?
I'm keeping it to myself this month.
Fair enough.
I haven't got a clue yet, to be honest.
Fair. Anyone else?
I guess kind of same feeling as I had last month, in that it seems wide open to begin with, but very much expecting it to condense in a way which is probably going to at first annoy me, but then we'll just roll with it.
I think this, because there's 2 choices for your fighter, that then decides how your bodyguards go. So I don't know. I think I see what you and the team have done, Matthew. I think you're involved, aren't you?
I'm not actually. That's
Are you not? No, right. Okay. Okay. You just got cross swords for other things, right? Okay. Yeah. I think because of am I taking a ground mon or am I taking a fighter? You've then got to build your team around that. So yeah, I agree. There will be certain mons that'll be on each other's team, but I'm guessing the fighter and anti-fighter, there's a little bit of flexibility in there. There's a few picks outside of that, which I think are going to be on every team.
I'm in the same camp as you, Phil. I think a team that has a fighting type, a team that has a ground type, likely look quite different, with maybe 2 or 3 overlaps. Whereas if you compare that to last month, I don't know, if you had Dragonair over Dragalge, the rest of your team would still look quite similar. A lot of teams indeed had both, didn't they? So I think there's that one. If you're thinking of it on a slot by slot basis, at least, I think this meta's going to have more variance than usually we get. But I guess we'll see.
We live in hope.
Well, this is it. Fingers crossed, right? Phil, you're up first, mate.
So yeah, let me just Google. I'm actually going to Google this. I'm not going to use Alexa, no shortcuts this time.
And I'm Googling mine now as we speak.
So yeah, let's see the little rat. Where is the little rat? The only decent furry type there is. Number 702 in the Pokédex. Dedenne. Or if you're battling a Walrein and take an earthquake, Dedenne.
He didn't have the earthquake. He really didn't.
I promise you.
That was only 6 powder snows.
I promise you, I had the earthquake.
Well, from what I saw, you didn't. Fix your game, Niantic.
So yeah, my mind, like many people's minds, will have gone straight to Dedenne, because if you're looking at the fighter section, you're ticking those boxes with your furry, and then you're seeing a lot of the anti-fighters as flyers, so the electric typing as well. So you're ticking a lot of boxes all at the same time for those mandatory picks. I suppose the only issue is everyone's going to pick Quagsire instead of an actual fighter. So how we build out the rest of our team based upon that.
Before you go any further, Phil, do you actually believe that?
Quagsire? at the moment, I'm still Team Quagsire. That's me.
Whether you are or not, do you believe that Quagsire is going to be on 50% plus of teams?
I think it needs to be. Otherwise, there's a big possibility that teams are going to get absolutely massacred by double or even triple or even quadruple electric types. And yes, I've built a team of 6, which includes 4 electric types.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's rubbish, but the idea is there.
Roserade says hi.
Yeah.
Wireless is there. Although, no, well, I suppose Dedenne will do a job on wireless.
Roserade says hi.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a work in process. But Galvantula potentially for the Roserade. I know it's still not liking weather balls, but I don't know. It's a work in process.
Doesn't like them poison jabs either.
No, it doesn't. After my experience with Galvantula this month, I've sworn off the thing. Just I think forever. I think the
too squishy.
Sorry?
Too squishy.
Too squishy. I think it's irreparable damage that's been done to the Galvantula part of my brain. I think it's just not going.
It was not a Galv month as far as I was concerned. I saw so many people running in. It was like, did you not see that there's like Dragals and Dragonair everywhere? Like,
well, I guess my problem was at the point where I picked to give up Galvantula. I firmly believe Dragals wasn't that good.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like you weren't warned, Matthew.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Moving on.
Anywho, so
sorry, I'm just kind of no, never mind. Carry on.
Another interesting one that I'll pick up on. If you're looking for Swiss Army knives for like safe swaps, Malamar gets used quite a lot, doesn't it? So I like that pickup as well.
Completely walls Malamar, isn't it?
Yeah. So I really like Dedenne for that reason.
Unless it's got Hyper Beam.
What man I would run there?
Giving away trade secrets. Come on.
Yeah. What I like the fairy typing as well in the crunch resist, which is important, I think, here for Drapion. Because you're weak to poison sting, but you can get away with that, right? You can get away.
Are Drapion's going to be running Sludge Bomb? That's the question.
Well, this is it. I don't know.
I see very little reason to be honest. That,
so I think those are going to spam out Aquatails, aren't they?
Yeah. As an avid Drapion user, I see no reason to run Sludge Bomb here.
Quag. Flygon, no.
Well, see, my thinking initially was that Obstagoon would be a little bigger than maybe we're seeing. And my thinking was that the Zweilous would be a little bigger than maybe we're seeing, and Sludge Bomb might have been nice for that, but it just doesn't seem to be the case.
Just Goon seems like a bit of a rogue picker out of the fighters, really, to be honest. Because I mean, you've got it does Goon does Goon things. I mean, everybody knows that. Like, you get a boost, and just that can flip entire matches. But you've got an entire roster where 70% of that first slot pick is probably just going to maul it. It's a targets game, and I feel like maybe early on people are just trying to get more general coverage, and then maybe if we see the meta condense, it might be like, oh, actually Goon looks really good because most of the things that he's going to worry about, no one seems to pick. But I looked at it and I was like, but I'm not sold really. When you've got some of the punching power of some of the other options in that slot, it's for now it's a tough sell to me. But yeah.
The being able to resist crunch from Drapion is pretty nice, given that Sludge Bomb isn't necessarily a thing. I mean, you'd probably still struggle to take on Shadow Drapion in particular with Aquatail, I would have thought, but it's not like it's getting one shot, which is nice.
I mean, Zweilous, I've not seen the pickup yet. I know it's early days. Grass types, okay, Roserade. Beedrill.
Ferrothorn.
Ferrothorn, yeah, I've seen that. I don't know. I don't know if people are going to go for it with like a mandatory fighter.
I don't fancy Ferrothorn.
I've seen quite a few people in some early practice tournaments running it.
Right.
And weirdly, from some of the footage I've seen, very heavily relying on it, which is very weird to me. I'm in the same boat as you. I think Ferrothorn's a very risky pick.
To be fair, yeah, it's in my first 6, and I've done quite a few battles with that 6 now, and I think I just need to find something else for it, like drop the Ferrothorn and pick something else. That's like what I've felt is the weakest link.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I think a lot of the grass types here seems to me that either are weak to counter or they resist counter, which is interesting because it puts you in a position where you're either, where you're potentially in a position where your grass types are beating Blaziken and Lucario, or if they're weak to counter, you've got to really be sure about them, and you've got to really have versatility as well to make up for that, I think. Especially given that Poliwrath's there, and ideally you'd want your grass types to be beating Poliwrath, right? And
yeah,
ideally,
yeah,
just straight mirror shot, right?
Yeah.
And this is some I played in the first Silph Takes 2. I built a Shadow Poliwrath to face the Slowbros, Phil and Jay in Sinister Cup, because I found out that Shadow Poliwrath is the only water type in the game that can beat Ferrothorn. No baits. So I like Shadow Poliwrath. It's like an absolute truck.
Yeah.
Shadow Poliwrath absolutely busted. That's the thing that I've learned from my scrims.
My Quillfish is still crying after yesterday.
It did an absolutely ungodly amount of damage, and I'm still in disbelief.
Yeah. So
dynamic punch does half to a Dedenne.
It's just
why are you supposed to resist that?
I hate that frog.
I hate that frog. I hate the other frog as well.
Yeah. I mean, the nice thing about Dedenne is it's at least out spamming Poliwrath, right?
Yeah, when the game works properly.
When the game works properly, that is a good point. I'm just going to quickly do a sim of my pick versus Poliwrath, just so I've got that little bit of extra knowledge to talk about. But,
well, it's double weak. It's your pick's double weak to it's spammy smooth, right?
Yeah, I know. I suspect it'll still be fine, but
you hope it'll be fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah,
it's not too bad actually.
Go on, Phil. Dedenne. Anyone else got any thoughts on Dedenne? There's something else I'll chime in with if anyone else wants to go first.
Yeah, go for it, man.
I like the bug resist. I think Forretress, I get mixed up.
Yeah, very popular this month. Yeah.
Yeah, Forretress is gonna have a bit of a place, and
yeah, I'm quite liking Worm.
Yeah, Trash Dam's pretty nice here, I think, as well.
I think Trash Dam's going to be more popular than Forretress this month. Yeah.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. When my initial 6 had both Forretress and Wormy on and Wormy D, a T, blah blah blah. Trash Worm. Yeah, Forretress has got a role, but I just felt like you had more general player with Worm. You didn't feel as hard walled by things. So I think it's a bit of a thing with PvP Poke is that it's overvaluing those mirror shot baits, like Mantine with Bubble Beam and things like that. But all means, again, Forretress is a great pick, but I think it's not going to be as popular as it has been this past month.
Interesting that you had both on a draft, because they really, like, some people would, you'd be forgiven for looking at Forretress and Wormadam and thinking, well, we don't need them both, but they are very different mons, really.
Definitely feeling very in my thought process, they were doing very different things as well. But if I was going to have one of the two, yeah, I don't think it would be Fortress early on anyway.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, because I looked at Dedenne as well, and it loses to Wormadam, but it's close. Whereas Fortress, you win pretty convincingly. I think you lose the zeros because of Earthquake, but yeah, I think you certainly.
Is that assuming mirror shot still?
Yeah. So like, I mean, if the Fairy goes Earthquake, it'll win the zeros, but you win the ones even if Fairy baits a mirror shot, because you get to
pace.
Yeah, you get to the third discharge before they get to the.
What if people are doing like they're doing this month and do double ground charge moves?
You'll still win.
You'll still win.
Yeah. Phantom nonsense.
Yeah. So that's another thing going for Dedenne as well. Yeah. Well, unless anyone else got any other Dedenne thoughts, I can't remember. Was it me next or was it you, Jan?
I think it might well be me. Basically,
yeah. Given how meta pick yours is, yeah.
You think it's meta?
No.
What, Jan's?
Wait, whose?
Hang on,
none of yous. I'm the most meta one here.
Well, that makes a change, doesn't it?
Standard.
Hang on a minute.
Right, pick number 36. Then it's, if I can spell the name, GY.
Giving away all the game already.
People's got time to go and Google the Pokédex number now.
Yeah, I think it's Jan. I think it's Jan.
I think the first version you can pick is like rank 16 or something daft like that or whatever it is. But yeah, my one is like a firm fan favorite across the main series, and I think more recently within Go as well. But it's Pokédex number 6. It is the Flame Pokemon. It is indeed Charizard. Why did I pick Charizard? Well, I'm a big Charizard fan anyway, but much more recently in Go, I came to understand its real power thanks to the cave meta in factions, as some of my teammates here will attest to. It was very fun to use, great fun to watch.
Shadow version as well, yes?
The shadow version was insane. And that's also kind of partially why I picked this, because obviously you can take two variants here, that being the shadow or the regular, but also you have 3 fast move options to choose from, and that's why I really like it, actually, in that it's not I mean, there's one moveset in particular that's been recommended on PvP, but you can really fill in holes based on what you want from Charizard. So you can have any which combination of the 3 fast moves, being Fire Spin, Wing Attack, Legacy obviously, and also Dragon Breath being Legacy. But also then you can kind of amp that up a little bit and change some of your dynamics, whether you go with regular or a Shadow. Obviously Charizard's not the bulkiest of Mons, and by giving some of that up with the Shadow is also can feel quite problematic. So it's not necessarily a plug-in and play type Pokemon, I would have said. But if you understand its limitations and its power, then it can really do some pretty nasty things, as some of my opponents found out. Bye Mandibuzz. But anyway. But I think that's the thing, like, for me. So in general speak, because there's so many ways you can play this, I've not simmed everything under the sun. I've just kind of got a kind of a general kind of ones. I'm not going to dip into 2s much, because I think if you're going to play 2s with Charizard, I'm going to recommend Dragon Breath, because Dragon Breath is insane and busted all the time, unless you're Dedenne or Dedenne. But generally speaking, Wing Attack is the most consistent across most matchups. It's got great energy gain. It's really consistent in terms of like your counts and things like that. It hits a vast swathe of the meta as it stands to begin with. So again, you're getting that great kind of fighter coverage, with being, hitting most of them for super effective, but also, the ones that aren't going to be hitting super effective with Wing Attack, because the energy gain is very good, and it's a pretty 2-turn compared to your Fire Spin being 3-turn and Dragon Breath just being blah blah blah. Dragon Breath. You can kind of really get to those. You get to those charge moves in a pretty good time, which is great for Charizard because it didn't tend to hang around a great deal of time. Some nice things that I really like about Wing Attack, in particular, which is why I think it's definitely a great time to build one if you're thinking about using one. We've mentioned Drapion. And again, let's just bear in mind that a lot of this is going to be using sims based on average IVs. So your mileage may vary a little bit. But Wing Attack Charizard is the only one that can consistently beat Drapion, which is pretty nice. And that's with Drapion running Aqua Tail as well. So all of the variants lose, which is pretty great. You can actually eke out a win against Walrein with Wing Attack as well, with the game working properly, of course. So
you can't eke out a win against Walrein, then that's what we're saying.
No one can beat Walrein. Walrein is other things that are pretty cool, just like picking up on different, just like my sim matrix is insane, doing my head in. Walrein Skuntank is far more comfortably beaten as a non-shadow with Wing Attack, but Dragon Breath and Wing Attack shadow versions also pick that up quite nicely. Fire Spin can, and then the non-shadow Fire Spin and Dragon Breath do not do that. I think the thing, again, if you've got some things that you're kind of worried about, you might want to plug in a specific mood, or if you don't want to use an elite TM on Charizard, then obviously look at what those kind of sims are. But like what Wing Attack does is kind of almost give you the best of both worlds in the other move sets in many respects. One thing that I might want to point out, I don't know if it's actually really going to become meta, but this was what I thought was quite cool from the Shadow version, because again, I'm a Shadow fan. The Shadow Charizard with Dragon Breath is the only one that can beat Magcargo. So if Magcargo turns up, who knows?
That's assuming Magcargo's running Incinerate, though.
Yes, of course. But
I mean, come on. Yeah.
Stop it, Phil.
That's Charles.
Somebody suggested Rock Throw Sudowoodo the other day to me. Firth Cave.
True. Anyway, but yeah, I guess the other thing as well, because I think Fire Spin is kind of is quite limited in terms of when you look at the rest of the meta that can come out. So I think Wing Attack is definitely going to be better than that. But another thing, as we've all already mentioned here, like Beedrill is looking like it could be quite a big pick this month as well, and Wing Attack is also the most consistent way to beat that and come out with some good energy and good health as well, to be able to make sure that you do be able to fire off one of them big blast burns or something like that. So yeah, again, lots of flexibility, and that's why I really like it as a pick. I think you can kind of really tailor it to what you want it to do within your particular team build, as was saying there. And it just looks cool. So yeah, why not? Sparks Joy looks nice. Just throw a blast burn out and just be laughing. So there you go. That's why I like about it.
What about you guys? Go on, Jay. Yeah.
I know. I love Charizard. Like I used it a lot in, I think it was Brawler. I had a boss time with it there, beating Vigs and stuff with it. I was like, yeah, even though it's squishy, just it hits so hard on the Shadow version. After seeing it in action, yeah, I like it.
I mean, I haven't had the benefit of seeing Jan tear people apart with it in Cave, but I have a bit of beef with Charizard, and I just think it has the wrong combinations of moves, regardless of what fast move you give it. Like Dragon Breath's the most consistent in my mind, generally speaking. But when you've got Fire Spin, you don't have any flying damage, and when you're that frail, well, I mean, it's not like Haunter frail, but it's still frail. When you're that frail, having less fast move pressure against the actual fighting types, which are things you're probably wanting to beat, regardless of what charge moves you're running, can make it quite difficult. But then when you give it the flying fast move, all of a sudden things like Alolan Sandslash become really, really difficult. Which you when you're building your team, you probably think, "Oh, I've got Charizard, it's fine," or oh, that's a counter, and those sorts of things can creep up on you with Charizard. In my mind, I personally think it sort of falls in the do you? Well, long time listeners will remember when I picked Drapion that one time and said it almost does all of this. It almost does it all, but in fact it actually does very little of it, so none of it. That's what my fear for Charizard is here. To be honest,
I think it's fair. I think it's a mon where people will be put off by it, I think, because it does take a little bit of getting used to, and it's not a mon like, you know, other flying fires like, you know, Talonflame, where it's just kind of like a very, this is easy, I could just tap my screen and win. You actually have to think a little bit with Charizard. And really understand it, and I think maybe that's why I like it, because it is a bit more nuanced than you kind of I think in my mind it forces you to kind of build better teams perhaps. But to your Sandslash point, if you can actually if you use it as a safe switch for some reason, they can't switch into you if you have wing attack, because that one extra wing attack means you can go straight blast burn and win, or if you sneak one in somewhere, then you win that straight blast burn as well. So, and that's the knowledge I've picked up over this time of running the Zard. What can I say? No, I agree though. There is this kind of, you're always giving something up. But I think in a meta like this, where if you had that, whatever you choose, you're giving something up somewhere. So I think there's nothing that I've seen so far which is you can kind of like plug it all together and it's like, and there's the master, it's the cheat code. Maybe that's what I like about it actually so far, is that it's gonna force I think it forces some creativity in that sense. Is like, if I want this type of, if I go with a ground type it's in my fighter slot and something else, then I have to build a certain way, as we discussed before, either on or off camera, I can't remember at this point, it's been a long day. But yeah, I think there's also a part of me with Zard is that long time Silphers probably would maybe fall into the same category as you, Matthew, and say like, oh well, it's kind of not going to do the things that I think it's going to do, or it might kind of like, you know, might be brush it off to one side, and that could surprise people in this meta, I think, as well. Like just if you know what it does, you've practiced with it, and you know how to eke out those different situations, I think it's got a lot of potential. I think the wing attack damage is actually quite nice with so many of the fighters flying around. What? Poor Lucha when. I've liked it so far in my practice. Will it make it into my final build? I hope so. I think it's got a lot of potential. I think it's one of those things where the ceiling's quite high, but if it gets locked in somewhere where it doesn't want to be, then you may struggle. But again, even resisted blast burns are not nice. So I think you get a lot of mileage out of it, whatever happens, but it's not going to be for everybody, I admit. But I think at least maybe if you've got a wing attack one lying around, why not give it a go? Maybe you've got one ready for Ultra, because wing attack Charizard in Ultra is pretty fantastic, to be honest. I think it's the best one in Ultra of the move sets. So definitely. Why not give it a go? You know, does it spark joy?
Phil, you've played Silph a while. There's been a couple of times. There's been a couple of times in the past where Charizard has been pretty handy. Have you ever used Charizard before?
I have, yeah. So Jungle Wing Attack Zard was massive then. What was the other one? Lots of grass knocking about, lots of water. Rainbow
used it.
Wing Attack Zard though was good as well. I think it's really good. I mean, who's going to be running Mad Cargo? Really?
I rate Mad Cargo. I really rate Mad Cargo. I really rate Mad Cargo.
What else is going to wall it? I mean, even Mad Cargo doesn't want to take 2 or 3 banked Dragon Claws, does it?
We're actually going to sim how much Blast Burn does just to a Mad Cargo, just for science.
Not a great deal.
25%. That's actually more than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So
it does do more than a Dragon Claw, but the Dragon Claw is 24.1. So energy efficiency wise, maybe you want to throw the Dragon Claw. I don't know.
You definitely want to throw the Dragon Claw. Yeah, no. There's a lot to be said. I played played a few practice games with Sharky King last night and hit a Gyarados with a blast burn from a Blaziken, Shadow Gyarados, and it one-shotted it from a fall, essentially. And and Charizard has that power as well, right? So, and as Jan was saying right at the start, there's not a huge amount of bulk around this meta. There's Walrein, the Bugseals, Lapras, yeah. I mean, Lapras is going to have a better time than Walrein is, but but a lot of the bulky stuff is susceptible to Charizard, right? Even Poliwrath. It's sort of on the bulkier end of the spectrum. It's there's something there. I think for me, I think what you said, Jan, about it being you've got to be very aware of what you want it to do. I think that's the key point. I think it's not but the temptation for a cup like this is to pick your fighting type and your anti-fighting type first, and then go there. I think the best Charizard teams will be the opposite way around, where there's just like that slight little weird hole in the end that a specific Charizard moveset fills, and then you only have to actually use Charizard one game in 3 or 4 when you see that hole come up. I don't know, but
I mean, my initial 6 was like 4 times weak to fire, so I was fuming when I practiced against them. I was like, for fuck's sake.
and then you found out that he was running not fire spin, and then it gets a bit more manageable, right? This is the thing.
Not when he had Shadow Polly and a fucking Rosemary.
Okay, right, fair.
A pretty degen team. It was pretty horrible, wasn't it?
It was brutal.
Fair. Well, has anyone got any further thoughts on Charizard?
Sparks Joy.
Fair. So
what about what?
It said Sparks Joy.
It does Sparks Joy.
It's Marie Kondo.
Marie who?
Marie Kondo.
I am muted, right?
No.
Organising your life. That's what she
I'm
said.
muted now, right?
No, you're not.
No.
muted.
No.
Even now?
Even now, we can still hear you. Yeah.
Spark Joy.
Right. Wife.
Hi, Pikachu.
Hi, Pikachu.
Hello.
So yeah, we don't need Alexa this week.
Got the real thing.
Honestly, I thought I was muted. I've got a mute button here.
Still going.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Right, what's the point of that button then?
I think Phil set that up. I think that's happened on purpose.
100%. I genuinely thought I was muted.
Okay. I don't know whether he's on mute or whether he's just making.
Susan was pulling funny faces at me, so I was
Pulling it back.
reciprocating. Yes, I can count. That's one finger. You guys are going to get me in trouble.
Doesn't sound right.
I even came in here, so I wasn't being loud, so Luke wasn't being disturbed or anything. No Alexa gags, nothing.
The content is
So,
suffered.
yeah.
So the content is suffered.
Is it Jay next?
It's me next.
Oh, okay.
It's me next. With the Cottonweed Pokemon, number 189, Jumpluff. Really cool Pokemon. It might have been you. Do you remember when it first got Bullet Seed? I think it was you, Phil, that I said. And this was like 2 years ago now, so it's incredible that I can remember this. It was during the I can't remember the name of the cup. The one where you had to pick one
Forest.
from it.
No.
No, the one where you have to pick one from every region. Was it Voyager?
Yeah, Voyager. Yes.
And
Jumpluff plus Gallade equals wins. It was great.
Yeah, and it was all of a sudden, because Jumpluff wasn't restricted in the Gen 2 slot, whereas Tropius was in the Gen 3 slot. And, I always thought if I could have had, I think it might have been you who said this to, but I said to someone, if I could have had Tropius as the unrestricted slot, I 100% would have. So why would I not have Jumpluff? No, Jumpluff's good. And now Jumpluff has actually got a good charge move that isn't resisted by a bunch of stuff in acrobatics. pretty sure it's a Blast Burn clone.
What was Outrage clone?
Outrage. That sounds more right. Yeah, that rings a bell. Yeah. It's Outrage clone, so still damn powerful. And that's important when it's Jumpluff, because that attack stat is not good. It's not a good attack stat. And when you sort of compounded that with Aerial Ace's miserableness, it was really poor. Like whenever anyone's mentioned Jumpluff on Championship before, there's always been but you could run Dazzling Gleam because Aerial Ace is that bad. Acrobatics is not. I alluded earlier to the fact that the grass types are either weak to counter or resisting, and obviously you're doing just that. You're resisting fighting types here. Even if Poliwrath wants to throw an Ice Punch, you are still beating it in the 0 to 1 shield. So like it's still got a shield twice to beat you, which is nice. What is really nice is Forretress does as well. Forretress has to shield twice to beat you. You'll beat it in the 0-1 shield because Mirror Shot is a really bad move. And when you take away that ability to even contemplate going for Earthquake, you have to go for Mirror Shots. And like Forretress will beat you in the 2s, but why are you shielding a Mirror Shot? You can just go there straight Acrobatics, win either the 0s or win the 0-1 and take a shield off them. Acrobatics even gives you the 0s from Swilus, right? Which is pretty big, and it does it in the. It's not like. I spoke about Blaziken the other day. Blaziken wins a lot of 0s by landing a Blast Burn or a Stone Edge, and that's just it. That's just it. And if that gets shielded, Blaziken loses and you die. Jumpluff isn't how Jumpluff wins its matchups. Jumpluff will get an Acrobatics off. It'll do 45 to 50% of damage, and then it'll get another one off, and then it puts the opponent in the position where they have to make the decision: are they going to shield that Acrobatics, which is going to kill them, or are they going to are they going to let it through, give you switch advantage, and you've still got quite a lot of health left because Jumpluff's a bulky boy. And if they choose to shield, it's not like it's the sort of thing that can be farmed down because of the bulk. Like the likelihood is that they'll have to throw their charge move again to finish you off because of the bulk, unless it's something like Walrein with Powder Snows. So I feel like it's very hard to take advantage of Jumpluff if you're the opponent. Like even Walrein, the 0s is incredibly close. So if you compare it with something that walls Walrein, you can get that shield, and then there's not much that walls Walrein. That's the whole thing.
I was going to say.
Yeah, probably realistically the best shot's the mirror, right? That's probably the best thing. But that has problems of its own. Yeah, just incredibly versatile. It'll shut down Beedrill. It'll shut grass types, regardless of whether they resist counter or not. Historically, struggle against bug types, poison types. A lot of the poison types are weak to flying here, and the fact that it's even got a lot of play versus the bug steals. I think it's the safest grass type. And if Quagsire is a good mon, whether it's going to be on 50% of the team type, I still don't know. I still have reservations about that. But I think you will want a solid answer to Quagsire. You're not scared of switching in to something or leading and knowing you can ride out a bad lead. And I think Jumpluff is about as good as you're going to get for that, personally. Yeah.
Do you remember Forest? It was Forest, wasn't it, when Jumpluff really kicked off?
Yes.
Because it was that plus Ferrothorn, which were pivoting around the Blaziken. I remember, depending which one had the lead on energy, it was super close because of Aerial Ace between Blaziken and Jumpluff. How does Acrobatics now help or hinder? Is it a little bit slower?
I think it helps the zeros.
Yeah.
Blaziken always won the zeros. Let me just do a quick check because I checked this the other night from the Blaziken side actually. Presumably we're not wanting to bait because Energy Ball's not gonna help out as much. Let's have a look. Yeah, so you are hindered in the 1s and 2s versus Blaziken if it gets a bait, but Blaze Kick doesn't do that much at all. Blaze Kick only does about 42%.
Yeah.
So really, the Blaziken has to be going for it has to get a Blaze Kick and a Stone Edge to win. And yeah, if you shield the Stone Edge, if you shield the Stone Edge, you'll win the 1s and the 2s.
Okay.
So it's sort of it's still dodgy, but it's dodgy in the opposite ways to how it was before. It's just going to hit a lot hard, and in a meta where there isn't a load of bulk, Jumpluff is bulky. Jumpluff is like it's seriously bulky. It's, for reference, the default PV Pokemon is 2,308 stat product. Azu, the default, has 2,387, so it's in the Azu ballpark. It's difficult to take down. It's difficult.
So it's so good that we all need Mowile now. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Or Charizard beats it, right?
Charizard beats it very handily.
Yeah. But
whichever moveset you run.
Yes, there you go. But I bet it isn't. I bet Charizard doesn't enjoy taking in acrobatics.
Let's find out.
If you get your energy lead.
Yeah. And also, Phil, it's a flying type, which is going to give Dedenne a nice bit of a beat down as well. Which isn't.
Acrobatics does 65% to a Charizard.
Wow, so little.
What the heck? Blast Burn does 76% to Jumpluff, which I'm super impressed by. Like on the Jumpluff side, in being able to take that amount of punishment. Bravo.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going to say for Jumpluff. It's going to be very, very good against the actual things that. It feels to me like they're in the fighting type slot. There's some of them that can overcome some of the.
It takes on all except for Excadrill, perhaps. Is
no,
it close?
I'd have it down as beating Excadrill. I'd
Right.
100% have it down as beating Excadrill. The one is Blaziken.
It probably one shot Excadrill.
Yeah, Energy Ball does 63% to Excadrill. Yeah, you're losing zeros to Excadrill, but you're winning the others.
You get. It looks bad in one though, but I'd say you can flip that if you're timing properly, because you basically if you improperly time, or basically if the game works properly, Excadrill loses. If the game doesn't work properly, then you can get to another Rock Slide to KO in ones.
Okay, right, fair enough. Okay.
It just looks really bad because that Energy Ball does so much damage.
Yeah, and just that being said, if I'm a little bit, I know Jay likes his spice, so I don't want to offend too much. But if I'm a little bit weak to Excadrill, I'll take that. There's in my mind, there's things I'd rather be weak against Excadrill than other things. Let's put it that way.
Quagsire.
Yeah, to be fair.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah. So yeah,
Jumpluff's the cool as fuck Pokemon. Like it is. I haven't tried it with acrobatics yet, to be honest.
It's an expensive trial, right? That's
yeah.
I've just built my shiny acrobatics, and it lands bang on 1,500.
At what level, like 44 or something daft like that? Or...
Not even that. I don't think any XL was used.
Just out of curiosity, I know Aerial Ace is a shit move, but have you compared Jumpluff with Aerial Ace to Jumpluff with Acrobatics and see, and like if there's a difference, or
no, and I've no real desire to be honest. It's it's the being able to hit hard in the zeros and force, like even in a bad matchup.
So you're thinking like you can use it more as, you know, you don't have to waste shields on it if you like gain yourself a shield advantage because you've got two moves that can hit hard. Then you can come in with something else with you with a shield advantage.
Yeah, you can. It's one of those mons where you can save switch it if, I mean, it's a big if there's no wall rain about. But even then, you're likely to get a shield, right?
Yeah.
Or if not, you can shield and yourself and go for a farm down. But so you can save switch it, or it's also the sort of thing where you can switch it if your opponent is ballsy enough to save swap Quagsire and you put Jumpluff in the back. You can win that matchup fairly comfortably. Obviously, you are going to take a Stone Edge, but you'll sort of shrug it off. I would suspect Stone Edge doesn't two-hit KO Jumpluff. I would expect.
Yeah, I mean the mud shots do nothing.
Yeah, exactly. You can shrug off those charge moves and come out with you're still going to have a decent amount of health or a big move to throw at the next thing. It's not like you're going to be left with no energy and 10% health to be at the mercy of whatever comes in and put you in a position where you might lose the game from there. It's very, very good at doing what it does to the point where it's always going to be awkward for the next thing as well. And you lose that with Aerial Ace because if the next whatever comes in versus Jumpluff after the Quagsire is going to be good versus Jumpluff. And that's the situation where you need acrobatics. So I wouldn't even begin to consider Aerial Ace, to be honest.
Sounds more like a question when you're asking about Aerial Ace as an alternative. Is actually that's something I would only really consider if I was looking at running the Shadow version. In terms of like, I could consider that as being an alternative option just because of the Shadow power boost gives me like slightly thing. And I did have a quick look at it. Just comparing normal one versus, and actually a normal Jumpluff with acrobatics performs very similarly to a Shadow running Aerial Ace. Interestingly, it does the acrobatics one picks up a couple more wins compared to the Shadow version, but the Shadow version uniquely beats Galvantula.
Okay.
With Aerial Ace, which is quite interesting. Yeah, but I mean, there's other caveats to that. Another unique. Oh, Kingdra as well, apparently.
I mean, I can live with that. Sorry, Jay.
But yeah, very actually surprisingly similar in that sense, which is surprising. Which is why I said surprisingly similar. But anyway,
I think the thing with the Shadow on Jumpluff though is you are so heavily defense weighted that 20% or whatever it is that you of stats that you give up is so much bigger than the 20% of the attack that you gain. Like it's just mathematically it's a big loss there straight away.
True, but there's also
But I would suspect with it being Bullet Seed and it being a low attack anyway, it's not like you're picking up a huge amount of Bullet Seed breakpoints that flip matchups. And breakpoints on 3-turn, 4-turn, 5-turn moves are sort of less important anyway. If it had, I don't know, a bug equivalent of Dragon Breath, then we're talking a different story, aren't we? But I think the Shadow is.
I have quite a lot of time for the Shadows, as you all well know. But I actually have used Shadow Jump quite a bit, and I really like it. But I've not used it with acrobatics yet. But it was more of a thought experiment more than anything. So I'm surprised it's done as well as it has. But having been hit by a few acrobatics from normal ones, it's kind of really kind of a difficult thing to kind of ignore in terms of like how heavy that something as bulky as Jumpluff hits because of it is kind of really kind of crazy. Very annoying.
I think as well the charge moves from the normal one, unless they're doing super effective damage, they're not close enough to be one-shotting stuff to the point where the extra damage from the shadow would flip things. So you're still going to have to get, in the majority of cases, I would have thought, you're still going to be able to have to get to the same number of charge moves to kill anything. You're just going to take more damage in the process. That would be my suspicion. And maybe that doesn't play out, maybe that doesn't show in terms of the pure numbers of wins and losses in the Sims, but it sort of removes that ability to trouble the next mon in, because you are going to be at less health and may not be able to make that next move, that next acrobatics to do a 35% chunk to something that's reasonably, that's solidly bulky. I just think in a vacuum in PvP, the shadow may perform similarly, but on the actual field, I think it's gonna be far inferior, to be honest. But that's just me. Any other thoughts on Jumpluff, or we'll move on to Jay? No, sounds like you're up then, Jay. Yeah.
Cool. Well, because I'm a fan of Excadrill, I realised that I need something that's going to protect it from fire, fighting, water, ground. Yeah, keep going. So what better Pokemon to use than the atrocious Pokemon? The Pokemon known for its fierce temper and destructive tendencies. Pokedex number 130, Gyarados. So yeah, Gyarados is basically what I've gone for. It's rank 69 on PvPoke at the minute, which is but I have decided that I think the Shadow is better, which is ranked 49th. And basically keep it away from electric and rocks, and you should be okay. It's walled by Dedenne, and well, pretty much by all the electrics. Just destroy it, especially in the shadow version. But if the rocks aren't throwing rocks, then you can get some wins. But just try and avoid them. And that's where it pairs really well with Excadrill. But I think it's really I'm pushing 2 months. Come on, I just want to talk about.
You could have done this with Quagsire, Phil. You missed the trick, mate.
Yeah. See. But yeah, PvPoke says run it with Dragon Breath, but I'm saying it's definitely worth an Elite TM and put Dragon Tail on it. That's just me. That's just my personal preference. I think, if you can sneak a Dragon Tail rather than a Dragon Breath, it flips so much. It gains you, in the ones, it gains you an extra 15% worth of wins on the whole meta, not just the 40, the whole meta. And bear in mind, Dragon is only resisted by about 10 Pokemon in this meta as well, because there's only a handful of Steel and 3 Fairies. And you can only pick them in. There's 2 of them in fighting slot, and there's 3 in the anti-fighter. So then there's only 5 left in the rest of it, and really no one's going to pick more than 1 or 2, because after that then you're going to start picking up too many of the similar weaknesses. So I just think obviously the oppressive shadow damage of the Dragon Tail, it spams out moves faster than you want it to if you're on the other side with the Aqua Tails and the Crunches. And obviously there's more broader move set you can go for if you want to be a bit weird and stick Outrage on there. But I wouldn't. I'd just keep Aqua Tail and Crunch myself. But yeah, it can beat some Steels as well, even though they resist the Dragon just because you're spamming off the moves quick enough. Especially things like you're probably going to see Empoleons, I reckon, because they've been quite popular this season, I think, in Silph. So a lot of people will go, oh, Empoleon's around. Yeah, I'll use that. It's not too bad against Wall Rain, surprisingly. Again, it's one of them where if you can sneak, you're flipping the matchup. It does need shields, unlike Jake with his no shield and a boss burn off Matt, or whatever it was. You definitely have to shield. And with the no shield, it doesn't perform amazingly well. But it still picks up over 57%. But like in the 1s and 2s is where it shines. And yeah, if you give it that sneak or one Dragon Tail worth of advantage, it goes up to like a 70% win rate. It's just 73.5 in the 1s. Yeah, so it's just mad, and it outperforms the non-shadow as well. And it outperforms Dragon Breath. So like, even like I was given, just out of curiosity, I was like, I'll try Dragon Breath with 3 Dragon Breaths, because obviously that's 9 energy, same as the Dragon Tail, and it still performs better than the Dragon Breath, just because the Dragon Tail is just so aggressive. So yeah, that's about it.
Have you run Gyarados before much, Jay?
I ran it in Fusion and Factions, and I came up against the opponent and I could literally just 2-shield it through his whole team if I wanted to. So it was like, okay.
My experience, I've used it a fair bit as well. Well, as much as anyone's used Gyarados a fair bit, right? Like I have experience using Gyarados. My observation would be that you very rarely actually hit the crunch, as in, you get the energy for it, but you don't really need it in Great League. It's different in Ultra League.
Yeah.
But
you're a bit squishy.
Yeah. My experience is that you very rarely need crunch. And actually, there might not be a great deal to lose from trying Outrage, especially when you consider that Poliwrath is walled by. It was Gyarados with the Surf Crunch, Aqua Tail Crunch, and it's not. Ice Punch is going to hurt, but it's going to need 2, maybe 3 to kill you, because the mud shots have to be everything.
You still beat Poliwrath.
Really? Okay, fair enough.
Give it shields, but yeah, I mean, I guess like if you are in a scenario where you haven't got a shield, or you think, I've technically walled this, but it's gonna take a hell of a lot of Dragon Tail down, then yes, I guess Outrage is probably an interesting shout if Crunch is not.
Yeah, I think it's worth considering. But yeah, I really, really quite like Gyarados here. Yeah. What do you reckon, Phil, as a Dedenne user?
I also like people using Gyarados.
So yeah, that's the surprise, isn't it?
So you don't like people using Excadrill?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, electrics.
I've seen Jay use it, and like he said, there was this one team, and use it as a lead, use it as a safe swap, 2 shields. I've got switch. Thank you very much. 3-0. Thank you very much. Good night. Yeah. What do you not want to see? You don't want to see Dedenne. You don't want to see Galv. Can you flip Galv? Not with a shadow. You're not getting to that Aqua Tail, are you?
Maybe with a Dragon Tail, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think it's
for the shadow version, surely not.
I don't think like honestly, electrics you just don't want to see. Like, if you keep it away from electrics, then you're doing all right. Basically, I don't know how much rock is gonna fly around, but like you can eke wins out against Credilli with like a sneak here and there, or if you've got slight energy advantage. But electrics, it's pretty rough. Like there's going to be some shenanigans going on, or maybe 2 shields. What's Jan looking at? Go on.
Oh my! So I've just looked at simming. I just for science, I've simmed Shadow Gyarados with Dragon Tail versus Galvantula.
Yeah.
3 volt switches.
Does anyone want to guess how much a volt switch does?
52%.
47%.
It's 38 damage, so it's 31%.
So it doesn't.
You can live 3.
Yeah.
You get to an Aqua Tail. You get to an Aqua Tail and then die, basically.
Right. How much does the Aqua Tail do?
The Aqua Tail will do 53% if it lands.
So you're getting a shield. There you go.
Yeah.
So you do 4. So yeah, if you land the Aqua Tail or they don't shield it, you will basically KO them.
Yeah.
At the same time as being KO'd by all the fast moves.
Yeah.
But
So,
you,
I mean, if they've got an electric mon, you just don't use it. Switch. You can't be getting locked in.
make a good point about the rocks though, Jay, because I quite like Cradilly. I quite like Macargo. I quite like Crustle. I quite like the rocks here. But when you think,
Yeah, I mean, if Crustle's running SmackDown, obviously, then it's a bit
sure,
shit. But if it's running Fury Cutter, that's really close. Like, that's really close. Again, it's flippable. If you've got that energy or if you sneak, because the Dragon Tails are so oppressive and then the Aqua Tail's super effective. And with the Shadow Buff, it just kills it. So.
you'll beat Macargo just straight up because you'll be faster to the Aqua Tails.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's the electrics that are the big worry, really, aren't they? Apart from rather than the rocks, I suppose.
This is why I'm running 4 of them.
just to mess with Jay. Yeah.
Again, Excadrill.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, no, I really like it. It's a really fun Pokemon to use, and yeah, definitely recommend it. Again,
Yeah.
I was surprised that when I obviously altered it from Dragon Breath to Dragon Tail to see with like that one Dragon Tail where you get extra, you go up to like nearly 75% win rate with it. I was just like, okay, like considering it's so squishy. So
Yeah, I wonder whether the extra energy generation, because it means you can get to that second Aqua Tail a little bit faster, doesn't it? You get to the second Aqua Tail is only 3. It's only 9 turns, whereas the second Aqua Tail on Dragon Breath would be 12 turns still. So I wonder whether that's got anything to do with it. Dragon Tail is 10 energy, right?
I think it's 9.
9 energy.
Oh, right.
It's the same, yeah. So because Dragon Breath,
same.
it's the same. It's the same. So Dragon Breath is
EPT.
3. Yeah, 3 per turn. So yeah, so it's 9 after 3 Dragon Breaths. Same as Dragon Breath.
Well, there's
damage,
one,
isn't it?
right? Okay, there's one reason why I've been struggling against Dragalge this month, and I can't actually count. I've been counting. So,
like, this is just an Aqua Tail. Oh, it's an outrage. But,
yeah.
I mean, I can't say it, and I'm like, that's just an Icicle Spear. Fuck.
I think, well, with the game the way it is at the minute, you've got to take counts with a pinch of salt. Like it's yeah.
Counting seconds, people. Counting seconds.
Yeah. Anyway, unless anyone's got any further thoughts on Gyarados
And Excadrill.
or Excadrill, we'll throw it out there while we're here. No. Fair
play.
enough.
The extra drill, I tell you what, that's a good B drill counter, isn't it?
Is it?
Is it?
Is it? It's not going to enjoy it. It's not going to want to
The
switch
drill
in.
run.
Yeah, it's not going to want to switch in.
Outpaces, though. Outpaces.
Yeah.
Need an X as a bait, maybe.
Fellstinger.
Outpaces.
Oh, Fellstinger. Degenerate.
Hey, I've got a Smeargle with lock-on Fellstinger.
Oh.
Be careful, people.
Wow.
Lock-on does 2 damage. Lock-on does 3 damage. Wow.
Is Fellstinger is it a double attack buff or a single attack buff?
Single, I think.
Oh,
It's like power up punch.
It's Poke, yeah.
Useless. Yeah. Not good.
Yeah. Could run it on a Quill God. Maybe not.
No, maybe not. All right then, guys. Thanks so much for joining.
Nice one for having us.
Thanks for having us.
It's
Thank
been
you very
good.
much.
Mon the JD. Mon the gym division here.
Whoop, whoop.
I've sort of talked myself into considering Jumpluff. Quite honestly, if I knew Phil wasn't, if Phil wasn't going to be on tonight, I'd have talked about Dedenne. I quite like Dedenne, but I've talked myself into considering Jumpluff a bit now as well, which is quite nice.
You've just forced me to double move my acrobatic one, so yeah, you forced me to do Jumpluff as well.
You're welcome, Phil. You can thank me later.
I'm just gutted I don't have a Shadow Magikarp anywhere. Literally none.
None.
Devastated.
Ooh,
No.
It's so much fun when you do get to use one.
I'll tell you what, I've had an interesting sim yesterday. So I have a particularly high rank Shadow Walrein. I know we're going off topic. We will finish this. But I've got a Shadow Walrein, a high rank one that beats a rank 1 obstacle in the zeros.
Ooh,
Which is
Nice.
It's a bit filthy, but
that's nasty. That is, and I'm watching out for you.
all right, guys. Thank you very much.
Cheers for having us, Matt.